Okay, this is our diagram, and Madeline gonna tell you guys about the diagram.
So this is the upper or high intertidal zone. Open the zone. This zone includes the area from the average high tide to just below the average sea level, covered only by the highest tides. Species found in the high intertidal zone might include green crabs, periwinkles, Atlantic rock crabs, mussels, and seaweed. And then we're moving on to the mid-intertidal zone. This zone extends from just below average sea level to the upper limit of the average lowest tide. It exposed at low tides usually twice a day. In a healthy intertidal area, this zone is rich both in diversity and numbers of organisms. There is generally a dense cover of algae providing food and shelter for many animals. Species found in the middle intertidal zone might include yellow seaweed, rocks, green crabs, Atlantic rock crabs, amphipods, barnacles, rock periwinkles, and common periwinkles. Then we're moving on to the low intertidal zone. This zone is exposed to the area only at the lowest tides. Species found in the lower intertidal zone might include amphipods, barnacles, and seaweed. Yay.
While factors are limiting the zones for barnacles and mussels. According to marine biology, a very short introduction, living space is at a premium in the intertidal region, and hence competition for space is an important factor influencing the actual distribution of some species on the shore. Given a sufficient supply of larvae, barnacles have the ability to settle and live anywhere in the mid and high intertidal zones of temperate rocky shores because of their tolerance to physical stresses. However, they are generally excluded from much of the more benign mid-intertidal zone, where they would be subject to less stress, have more time to feed, and grow faster. This is because mussels outcompete barnacles for space in the mid-intertidal. They do this by overgrowing and smothering the barnacles. Thus, barnacles ultimately persist mainly in the refuge of the high intertidal zone where mussels cannot tolerate the harsh environment. Hence, in this situation, the upper limit of barnacles' distribution is set by physical factors and the lower limit by a biological factor, competition for space from mussels. Similarly, the upper limit of mussel distribution is set by physical factors and the lower limit by a biological factor, in this case, predation by sea stars. While factors are limiting the zones for green crabs. In a study done in Nova Scotia, Canada, sign indicates that the crab's diet in the intertidal zone of Crown Cove, Bay of Fundy consists of mollusks, especially bivalves and periwinkles, and crustaceans, especially barnacles. At that location, as elsewhere, green crab dietary habits vary. This may depend on the frequency and amount of prey available. Not only does the green crab have a great capacity for devouring diverse prey, but other species living in marine environments may have to compete with the green crab for food. These competitors may include native fish and birds, as well as other crabs. What factors are limiting the zones for rockweeds? Ascophyllum. Ascophyllum is a major component of intertidal habitat along Maine's rocky coastlines, where it dominates the mid to lower portions of the intertidal zone. Patterns of abundance are thought to result from the availability of solid substrata, resistance to gazing, tolerance to temperature and salinity fluctuation, and intolerance to water motion. The upper limits of its distribution are controlled by its ability to resist desiccation and high temperatures. Usually outcompetes F. fasciculosus inhabitants with low wave exposure. As wave action increases, F. fasciculosus becomes the most abundant rockweed in the intertidal zone, where some of its canopy fronds attain a height of 0.9 meters, which is 2.9 feet. In general, F. fasciculus has greater physical tolerance than Ascophyllum and forms a dense, narrow band above and sometimes below the wide Ascophyllum band in main estuaries. F. fasciculosus becomes the dominant rockweed in estuaries where narrow tidal channels increase water flow, and its greater tolerance to low salinity permits it to extend up tidal rivers. It may beyond areas where ascophyllum can grow.
So, what gonna control the population size in this particular environment? I mean, the rocky shore environment. First, the salinity stress gonna be one important part. Salinity stress can occur in the external median of the surface film. The concentration of the fluids determines whether or not the organism will lose water. When the osmolality of the cell is lower than the surrounding medium, the cell loses water from the internal fluids to environment. When the intracellular osmolality is high than the environment, there is an influx of water into the cell from the environment. Also, there's going to be this desiccation stress. The organisms are threatened by desiccation during immersion at low tides or when they're positioned in high intertidal zones. Dehydration due to expiration water loss is the most common mechanism. Highly mobile organisms can avoid this desiccation by migrating to a region that is more suitable. Less mobile organisms restrict virus activity and attach more firmly to the substrate. Also, predation can control the certain population size. However, some organisms will use bioluminescence, calcification, and camouflage to avoid their predators.
According to Seed Coast Online, the common periwinkle can be identified by its striped tentacles and the spire, the pointy end of the shell that isn't as sharp as that of the rough periwinkle, but not as smooth as that of the smooth periwinkle. Smooth periwinkles are very smooth. They have a flattened spire and they can be a variety of colors, solid yellow to striped to brown colors that all camouflage land nicely in the rockweeds they call home. Rough periwinkles look a lot like common periwinkles but are smaller and bumpler.
Barnacles. Barnacles are often seen on crabs, whales, boats, rocks, and on the shell of sea turtles. Although some species of barnacles are parasitic, most barnacle species are harmless because they're filter feeder and do not interfere with an animal's normal diet and do not harm that animal that they live on in any way. Seaweed. During the cold water month, rockweed has a very dark green color. In the warmer summer month, portion of the plant will develop a gold-brown color. Anchored to rocks with a disshaped holdfast, the stip divides into a series of branches from each interspread with air bladders. Rockweed grows in the rock mid to lower intertidal. It can be found in protected coves as well as in more open areas. The size of the stip and air bladders will vary depending on the nutrition level in the water, the strength of the water flow, and the age of the plant.
Atlantic rock crab is a crab that's found from Labrador to South Carolina. This crab species occurs on the eastern coast of North America. Rock crabs live over a large depth range from well above the low tide line to as deep as 2,600 feet, which is 790 meters. The species can be distinguished by the purplish-brown spots and by the smooth edges to the teeth on the edge of the carapace. North yellow periwinkles. The species can be found in the littoral and sublittoral zone on rocky shores and piers, usually on brown algae of the genus Fucus. Minimum recorded depth is 0 meters. Maximum recorded depth is 110 meters. The habitat may define its color. On sheltered shores, it has a lighter and uniform color, yellow, brown, orange, or olive green. On exposed shores, its color is darker and checkered.
Blue mussels. Blue mussels are living in intertidal areas attached to rocks and other hard substrates by strong thread-like structures called byssal threads, secreted by byssal glands located in the foot of the mussel. Blue mussels are semi-sessile, having the ability to detach and reattach to a surface, allowing the mollusk to reposition itself relative to the water position. Amphipods comprise an order of crustaceous shrimp-like in form, which contains mostly marine and freshwater forms. While some species are terrestrial, they still require moist habitats. These terrestrial species are sometimes referred to as lawn shrimp due to their similarity to true shrimp. So, how can these organisms relate to each other? For example, limpets rely on the algae. The relationship between the two is known as mutualism. The limpet gets a constant source of food, and the algae benefits from his surface being cleaned. Without the constant cleaning from the limpet, algae would suffocate and different types of bacteria would take its place. Both organisms benefit, and therefore it is mutualism. For example, snails attach themselves to plants in the tidal pools to keep safe. This keeps the snails from being caught in waves and being pushed up further on the shore or being pulled out to sea. The snails benefit from this, but the plant life seems unaffected. This is an example of commensalism.
Also, for example, the barnacles and periwinkles. So the limpet can affect barnacles population negatively by dislodging or crushing small barnacles, but they may also enhance barnacle settlements indirectly by moving competitive algae. Conversely, barnacle may reduce the gross reproductive output and survival of limpets by limiting access to food, disrupting foraging efficiency, and decreasing the amount of space available for attachment. Also, both amphipods and isopods eat dead and decaying algae, and seaweed and other plants and animals. Bacteria and smaller organisms that consume the waste of amphipods and isopods continue the decomposition process.